I need a shot. I forgot what I was saying. I hate this so much. Hey guys, welcome back. Lily and Luca here. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys a more in-depth look at the polymer clay earring process. I was able to record a little bit more of the last collection I made, which was some Texas inspired earrings. So I'll do my best to explain my setups and kind of what I'm doing along the way. What you're going to see was pretty much filmed over 2.5 days. And it's like only like 20 minutes. I mean 20 minutes is long, but you know what I mean, 20 minutes. You good? You good, bro? You wanted to be here. You chose this life. Okay. I will do my best to explain what I'm doing along the way. I hope you guys enjoy. If there's anything you're confused about or just curious about, just leave a comment and I'll answer it as best I can for you. Thanks for coming by, and I hope you guys are enjoying my videos. Bye! Alright y'all, so if you don't know, Jeremy and I, my fiance, we travel for his job. So right now we're in Hilo, Hawaii. So this is kind of what I'm working with. It's just our little kitchen table. I have glass like work surface that has the ruler on it. Shout out, that's the dopest thing I have probably. And then we have our cutters, my clay, a bunch of tools here, my gold flakes, Q-tips because you need a lot of Q-tips, iPad because I watch my Netflix, an extruder, a blade, this is a lifesaver, X-Acto knife, needle tool, and my pasta machine. I also have baby wipes because I use it to like clean this or wipe my hands off after handling the clay, especially like dark colors like black or red. They bleed a lot on your hands, so you want to make sure you wipe your hands off so it doesn't transfer. I've got my jigger here, whatever you want to call it, my little arm that I'll use to record for you guys, my little pan that I use for baking, and then my little setup with my ring light because, you know, gotta look cute. Alrighty, so what I like to do is start off by just brainstorming the designs and the colors that I'm going to use. I've already done that part, but what I'll do is chop up the clay into smaller pieces so that makes it a little easier for me to manage and to warm up to get it nice and conditioned. I will also use the pasta machine once I feel like it's rolled out enough and started to get a little warmer, but I didn't really change the camera angle for that, but you guys get the idea. You'll see later on too how it looks once I run it through the pasta machine. So I was trying to show you guys here, you can kind of see that dark blue color I'm working with has stained my hands a bit. It's hard to tell, but that's exactly what I use the baby wipes for. I definitely want to get that off my hands before I start working with a lighter color. So here it's the colors that I chose to try to make the perfect color for these like Texas state flowers. Usually when I mix a color, I'll write everything down in kind of the proportions that I'm using so I can replicate it. But on this one, I definitely did not write it down. But hey, I've got a video of it, so I can do my best to replicate it. So I'm just kind of working slowly, adding the colors that I think I'll need to get the perfect match. And once I blend that, then I'll kind of mess with it a little bit more. I think I ended up adding a little more white to just lighten it a bit. That blue was really, really strong. But yeah, so you can just use the colors that you find, or you can make your own. So most of the time, if it's something specific I'm trying to replicate, then I have to make my own color. Well, there you go. You can kind of see where I'm using the pasta machine too. Kind of flattens it out and helps to condition it all together and mix the color. So once I get that perfect color, then I'm on to the next step. Alright, so I finally got the perfect color that I needed. So I'm going to move on to the green, which I'll be using for the stems and the leaves of the flowers. So I just kind of loaded up the extruder and it helps get like consistent, I don't want to say lines, but that's what I use for my line work, little snakes of clay. And then the leftover that was in the extruder, I'm going to roll out to a thicker piece so that I can kind of cut that up and use those for the leaves. Alright, so now I'm ready to cut out my pieces. So I'll get my white slab out. That's what I wanted to use as the background. And I just get my cutters. Before I use them, I like to wipe them down just to make sure there's no residue on it. So yeah, just cut out the pieces that you need. And once we're done, I'll show you how I remove it from the glass. Alright, so what I'm doing here is removing the pieces from the tile. Once I remove it, I like to wipe down the edges and kind of smooth them out with my hands. Kind of just makes it easier for the sanding process later. So here, I did not realize I cut off like where I'm actually working. So I'll just try to explain what I'm doing, even though you guys can't see it. I'll try to get a better shot next time. But I kind of already planned out what my earrings would look like. So I went ahead and removed all the pieces. Then I like to set them on the grid so I know like where the halfway point is, and I just cut them in half. So now I'm starting to do the floral design. I love the X-Acto knife for picking up the pieces. It's so helpful, and then I just boom can just trim it, pick it up, keep it moving. So what I did first, I think, is I laid down a couple of the stems and then got started on the leaves and continued on with the flowers. So I'll kind of let you guys see how I did that. done and beautiful. I just lift them off the glass again, do a quick little run through with my fingers to smooth it out before we bake, and just put it on my prepped baking sheet. I usually just put like some plain paper down before I set the pieces on. I feel like it helps to bake with a smoother back and not as shiny. Also show you guys when I'm working with lighter colors, or really any clay, you can sometimes get like dust or little fibers on it, or even color transfer on your lighter colors. So what you want to do is or I guess what I do is take Q-tips and use 100% acetone and very lightly kind of rub off the surface of where that lint is, and it'll remove it. And the color as well, you want to like very lightly run it over the clay, and really what it's doing is deteriorating the clay, and that's where you can access the lint, and then it'll come up. Alrighty guys, so it's all done baking. I've got my pieces here, and I'll kind of show you a little bit of my setup. So I'll always have a little bit of water, paper towels, my Dremel, this little box. I just kind of recycle whatever box to drill holes on top of, like a, what do you call it, like a heavy grit sandpaper, or I just use a nail file, gel super glue, what are these called, pliers, and then all my little assembly tools and the acetone. Oh, and I need Q-tips, and then I've got these brushes as well. So that's pretty much the main setup for cleaning up the pieces, sanding them, drilling the holes before I assemble. Alright, let's get started. So I'll start with a buffer attachment for the Dremel and go over all of the edges of all the pieces to smooth them out. You can see on this one the background color was showing through, so I trimmed that down a little bit extra there. And what I'll normally do is check the back and see how much sanding it needs. On this one you can see that it had like a little piece there sticking up, but some color transfer on it. So I went ahead and just fixed that real quick. Now with this project I used the Sculpey Primo clay, which I'm obsessed with, and normally it doesn't really need that much sanding on the back, so I didn't get a good recording of me actually using sandpaper, and like the water bowl is like what I use that for the most. So if you guys want to see what that looks like, just let me know and I'll make a separate video showing you guys how I actually sand the pieces. But once everything is smoothed out on the sides and the back, then that's when I'll start drilling the holes so we can start assembling them. Once I have all of the holes on all the pieces, I just take this soft bristle toothbrush and go over all the pieces to get any dust off. And if there's any little fine areas, that's where I'll go in with the makeup brush. It's an old makeup brush. So just want to make sure all the dust is off or any particles are off. And here is where the the high grit nail file comes in. What I'm doing is just roughing up the backs of those studs so that it gives the glue something to adhere to. So I'll just go ahead and rough up all the pieces before I use that gel super glue to attach them. So the rest of the earrings are dangle earrings. So I'm just using these jump rings to connect the pieces together. I'll tighten that up, and I'm adding these ball post studs. Now everything's done, so I'm doing the finishing touches. I'm just popping them into our little ashen clay cards, like our earring holders, and adding the backs to them before I ship them out. That's it, guys. If you've made it this far, you guys are troopers. I know it's a pretty long video, but I just wanted to show you guys more of the process. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you in the next video. Bye.